Ilunga elihloniphekileko lendlu, Inkosi uMandela.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, Molweni, Dumelang, good afternoon, goeiemiddag. I couldn't help but be reminded of two powerful events in the early days of our transition to democracy that captured the essence of today's theme, celebrating our cultural diversity in a democratic South Africa. The past few weeks since the start of the Rugby World Cup 2023 has kept us riveted to our phones, tablets, laptops, televisions, and big screens. As a nation united in support of Amabhokobhoko, it provided good reason to reminisce those wonderful moments when the nation in all its diversity stood together as one. No irony was lost on the fact that nobody believed that South Africa could achieve a peaceful transition to democracy, given its painful and traumatic past, characterized by centuries of colonialism and decades of apartheid, in which the fundamental human dignity of the majority of South Africans was denied. Nobody could believe that out of extrajudicial killings, hate squads, impimpis, vigilantes, murders, assassinations, life incarceration, interrogation, torture, and exile, a new nation could come together as one. On the 27th of April, 1994, it happened and set in motion a process that has had highly elated and emotional episodes that bared the soul of the nation. We first repeated that magic in the 1995 World Cup when, inspired by Madiba, wearing the number 6 Springbok jersey of Francois Pienaar, led his team and indeed the entire nation to victory in the Rugby World Cup against all odds. Perhaps we are a nation motivated by adversity, tragedy, challenges, and we rally our best when the odds are against us. So it was at the dawn of democracy, the odds were stacked against us as a recalcitrant Inkatha refused to be part of the transition process. Honorable Hlengwa, much has been said by Prince of Pindangen, the Prime Minister to the Zulu monarch and earnest acting President of the Republic of South Africa since his demise. It was in no small measure due to his tenacity that a paradigm of exceptionalism became the default as the Zulu nation benefited from the transition to democracy the way no other has to date. Out of that volatile moment was born a compromise, protected traditional lands, and saw the formation of Ingonyama Trust as it assisted in securing the participation of the then monarch, His Majesty King Zwelithini Kabheka Zulu, and Inkatha, now the IFP, in the landmark of the 1994 elections. I recollect this part of our transition to democracy, not to eulogize, but to make the argument that the same cultural recognition should be accorded and extended to the full diversity of South Africa's traditional leadership, such as Skukune, Mampuru of Bapedi, and Queen Mjaji of Balobedu. To transform culture and its political economy, we must start with the recognition of the fullness of our diversity. We must stop perpetuating the myths as if the Zulu nation is the only nation in South Africa. We must stop perpetuating the myths that the Eastern Cape is the land of tossers, whereas there is a rich traditional and cultural history of Amampondo, Amampondomse, and Abatembu, reflected in our linguistic diversity, arts, crafts, rituals, dress, and well-documented history. We have many films about the life of Shaka Zulu that perpetuate this myth. Where is the narrative of films of the defeat of the Portuguese hero of conquest, Francois de Almeida, at the Battle of Salt River, right in these lands. This was a big deal, a momentous event, though it is not yet fully claimed, owned, or celebrated, because we have not accorded the Khoi and the San people, along with all other traditional leaders, their due recognition, rights, and restitution, as we have done for the Zulu nation. We only truly start valuing our diversity by creating an inclusive environment where differences are respected and the history, unique perspectives, and customs of all are recognized. We must recognize the Rainbow Nation and its significance as a character of our national identity by the full inclusion of its diverse expression and celebration of all the strands that weave the beautiful tapestry of what makes us South Africans. We must fully recognize the role of culture in conquering and addressing the social ills such as bullying, gender-based violence, femicide. We must draw on our rich history in these difficult times and our collective will to overcome adversity. We have not done justice to the economic impact of culture and heritage and will not do so as long as we cling to the paradigm of restitution that starts with the South African Native Land Act of 1913, whilst ignoring the wars of dispossession bravely waged by our heroes since the inception of the colonial project. This Heritage Day, we must invoke the memory of all our brave heroes and heroines. We must celebrate and claim the legacies of the Gorikona leader Auchumayo and his niece Krotoa, who were imprisoned on Robben Island in 1658 by Jan van Riebeeck. We must recollect and claim the history of the 1686 Dutch vessel Stavanice, which shipwrecked at Port St. John's, and the survivors who first encountered Amampondo and Abatembu in the Eastern Cape. We must claim and celebrate the legacy of the 1855 Amaxhosa Chief Siyolo, the grandson of Ndlambe, who was imprisoned on Robben Island after the Battle of Mlangeni. We must claim the legacy of the 1858 when Amanxiga Chief Maqoma and his wife Kaki were also imprisoned on the island along with Maqoma's half-brother Tonto, Pato of the Gunukwebe line and his son Dilima, Stokwe, Mapasa, and Fadana of Abatembu, who were all also imprisoned there after the cattle killing of 1856 to 1887, which were part of the wars of dispossession with the British. We must claim the legacy of the 1869-1870 captives from the first Corona War who were sent to Robben Island, including Pete Boy, David Derrickson, Jan Kivido, and Karel Reuter. We must claim the legacy of the Second Corona War of 1880 that saw the imprisonment of leaders such as Thomas Pofada, Jan Magals, Jacobus Afrikaner, John Adam, and Klaas Pofada. We must claim the legacy of the 1874 of Amahlubi chief Langalbalele, who was imprisoned for treason and later taken to the farm Eidvlegt in what is today Pinelands. We must keep the stories of these brave leaders alive. It is our story. We must ensure that our monarchs in South Africa are equally honored, and the Ngonyama Trust model must be applied to all kingdoms so that our traditional monarchs and communities are likewise beneficiaries of restorative justice and restitution. As we once again rally the nation behind Amabhokobhoko this weekend in the Rugby World Cup 2023 against Ireland, let us spur on by the slogan, "Together we can." Let us once again ignite our skies with the memories of victory at the Rugby World Cup in 1995 under the iconic leadership of Francois Pienaar, the brave victory of 2007 under John Smith, and that triumphal moment in 2019 when Captain Courageous Siya Kolisi lifted the Webb Ellis Trophy for the third time. We stand on the brink of history as we march towards victory again in France. We wish our boys well and send them our message of support. A nation united in diversity can and will overcome all adversity. Together we can, together we will. God bless South Africa and grant us victory. Nkosi sikelela iAfrika.
Thokoze.
Go Boke, go Boke.